Hey there, I'm Haley Gray, and I am the founder of the Women's Entrepreneur Network. And today we're going to be talking about your $1 million book. But first, most books, I believe, for most business owners, where you think you've done something amazing by having that Amazon bestseller, are a complete and utter waste of your time, your money, and your resources, and they are a huge distraction. We're going to talk about today about how to fix that and how to do it differently and how to make $1 million off of your book. Hey, everybody. So, we're going to be talking about how to make $1 million off of your book instead of making it a huge monumental waste of your time. I remember a few years ago, I was talking to somebody who was a friend, and she was telling me about how she was getting ready to launch the next book. She was so excited. She was stoked. She was wildly happy about it. And you know what? I asked her, well, what is the point of doing yet another book on the heels of the last book if you're not going to promote the book? And she kind of looked at me and her jaw dropped and she was kind of dumbfounded. And I would argue that for most business owners who are writing books, who are doing books to support our businesses, who are doing things, writing a book can be one of the best things that you can do for your business. But it can also be a huge monumental waste of time. And what am I talking about? For a lot of us, we think that, if we put a book up on Amazon and we get it to Amazon bestseller status, somehow the skies are going to open, the angels are going to sing, and we're going to make all this money. And nothing could be further from the truth. It is a bunch of malarkey. And I'm saying that as somebody who is a marketing strategist who has written several solo books myself, who, I've got 3 solo books. I've contributed to various anthologies. And I will tell you that just being on Amazon, just doing their things without doing further work, nothing is going to do anything in your business for those books. Those books are not going to do a darn thing for you. And in fact, I would argue that for most people, those books are just a huge waste of time because you're not marketing it. You're not doing anything beyond the regular promotion. And in fact, I was talking to somebody recently who is a publisher, and she's like, well, I've never done anything beyond this basic promotion of getting it to be a bestseller and my Who's What's It and my dance and all these things after the book. And I said, well, you do realize that the way that we get to $1 million a book, and I've made over $1 million with my Fearless marketing book, is that you have a strategy to go with that book. So let me just be really clear that having a book that's going to make you $1 million and actually deliver that $1 million into your pocketbook is a very different animal from a book that you don't have that $1 million strategy on. It's just like with the podcasts where you need to begin with the end in mind. So what am I talking about? Well, your entire structure of your book needs to be leading people down the path towards saying, hey, yes, I could work with this person. A clear call to action needs to be in the book. Call me. Let's book an appointment. Let's see how we can help you. And it needs to be on more than just one page of the book. The next thing is that if you are going to be promoting the book, you need to either have a funnel or a website or something that's associated with the book and some sort of plan to continue to market that book over time. So one of the things you could do is go out and go get the URL that goes with your book, and you can create a landing page that it allows people to go to Amazon, or you create a funnel where you collect people's email addresses to get the book. Or you can create a funnel, which is, hey, here, I bought the book. Now go to my website and download the free workbook that goes with it and give me your email address. So there's a lot of things that you can do to go with the book that you are doing. Make sure that you have a strategy. And there's a lot of different strategies that I employ with my clients and that I have worked on myself. And I will tell you that I have personally made over $1 million off of my book and over $1 million in profit. So just be aware that you can make a lot of money off your book. The next thing is that you want to have really valuable content. I know that there is this trend out there and has been for a while of, just create a very low content book because nobody's going to read it. Nobody blah, 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 blah. Create this really thin, skinny little book that doesn't even have a spine on it. And don't be bothered with creating more. And honestly, if you want to create a simple, cheap ass book that nobody's going to buy or nobody really wants to download, do that. If you want to damage your reputation by putting content out there that's low quality, then go right ahead and follow that model. And, you can create a funnel to go with it and call it your guide for whatever and do it. I mean, it absolutely can work, but it's not going to make you millions of dollars. A book that is going to make you millions of dollars is going to be a book that honestly, you are putting the effort and the time and the money into with the editing, with the copy, with all kinds of things. Because one of the things that I do with my books, and you may choose to do with your book, is that I actually carry around copies of my book and I give them to prospective clients. I autograph copies of my book. I give them to people. I mail copies of my books to clients. Sometimes I will mail a copy of my book to a prospective client so they can get to know me better. And I have these conversations with people. So it is super important that you have, physical paper copies of your book. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be handing people a little bitty floppy little, okay, so I did 12 pages or 20 pages and it's like this little floppy thing. I want it to be a substantive work that has my information down the cover. And in order to get your information down the spine of the book, you need to have at least 120 to 130 pages. So bigger is really better up to a certain point here. So you can cover a lot of this with formatting. If you want the book to be bigger than it actually is, you can add extra workbook pages, you can add extra formatting, and you can do certain things. So if you think about what you're doing, you want to make sure that you are able to do, a substantive piece of work with it. And then the next thing you're going to do is potentially create a workbook and, make it go with your book. So that gives you another upsell to go with your book. Audiobooks are also a really awesome upsell that can go with your book. And you can create a funnel that will do the book, the workbook, and the audiobook and get people into programs off of that. So there's a lot of things that you can do with your book. The other thing that people do and fail to do consistently with their books is they don't have a pre-publication promotion schedule going on. So they're not promoting the book before they publish. And the real issue with that is that, if you are not promoting your book before you publish and you're not building an audience and you're not building numbers, you're not building excitement around the book. And if you're trying to build numbers and you're trying to build a substantive, valuable audience around the book, you need to be giving sneak peeks, you need to be giving sneak previews, and have a whole pre-launch checklist that you're following. When you launch the book, you want to be launching and launching and launching and launching. The way that Chicken Soup became such a huge runaway bestseller and, Giver's Gain by Bob Berg, there's a lot of these books that have become huge bestsellers, is that their authors have continued to promote those books for 20 or 30 or more years for that book, and they drove around with copies of the book in their trunks, and they continue to find new and different and innovative ways to promote the book. You can reuse pieces of content from the book. I see a lot of people that put the book out and then they never talk about it again. If you don't take that content that you have already created and break it up into podcasts, into mini videos, into all kinds of things, then you are going to find yourself in a situation where, you've created all this content. And a lot of people create mountains and mountains of content and they never effectively use it and they never reuse it. So one of the things I like to tell people when it comes to content is reduce, reuse, recycle, and make sure that you are leveraging the book that you are creating. And if you are not leveraging the book that you're creating, then you need a strategy to do that. You can even go back and relaunch a book years after you put it out there. Don't think that just because you launched a book in 2019 that you can't go back in 2023, 2024 and relaunch the book from scratch as if it never happened in the first place. So think about what your overall strategies are and how you're going to be marketing that book over time. And this is part of the marketing strategy that I see work so well with my clients. It helps them make millions of dollars off of a single book. And then you're not recreating book after book after book after book because you're taking the same content and you're reusing it and you're honing your message and you're focusing on that one single message, which I'll give you a hint. For most people, we try to make our business way more complex than it actually is. So we're not actually, doing anything that is substantive with our marketing. So we're not sticking with that same message for a period of months to years, which helps people really get to know us. And if you can take the content out of your book, turn it into graphics, turn it into Pinterest pins, turn it into reels, turn it into TikTok videos, turn it into YouTube shorts, do it all kinds of different ways, you're going to be much more likely to actually be able to hit $1 million off of a single book. And that is one of the things that I really, really get excited about is that we took a single piece of content and we reused it until we got maximum yield from that book. So think about exactly what you're trying to do with your book. Do you want it to be a monumental waste of time or just a vanity metric? Or do you want it to be something that actually turns into something much more substantive and valuable? That's a decision you have to make. Do you want to say, oh, I authored 23 books? Or do you want to say, hey, I authored one book and I made it into a runaway bestseller? And here's the thing, even if you publish a book on Amazon, use your own ISBN. One of the biggest tips I have for you is use your own ISBN and continue to promote that book and grow your audience and grow your numbers using that book. Okay. Get clients using that book. Follow that same message to a T, and you can eventually get picked up by a really big publisher and continue to promote the book. And the more you do this promotion with your book, the more you do with it, the more likely you are to have with it. But a lot of us just get impatient. We're entrepreneurs. We have squirrels. We know we have squirrels, right? I know I have plenty of squirrels in my life, and it's always that next bright and shiny thing. So one of the things I have learned is to have that discipline to come back and work on something until I am consistent enough with it to actually be successful. Because if I'm not consistent enough with something to be successful, it's never going to work. And I see it all the time. So many business owners do something for 2 or 3 or 4 days or weeks or whatever, and it's not successful. Therefore, that platform or that avenue is not going to be successful for them. And honestly, that's not the case. You want to keep going at that promotion with that book or that podcast until it is successful. Remember, you can keep promoting a book forever. You can keep promoting a podcast until it's no longer relevant. Why aren't you doing that with your book, right? So, and the other thing you should know is you can always go back and you can edit your book and you can re-upload it to Kindle with updates and edits in it. So if you wrote a book and you didn't put certain information in it, or you had to update information, you can re-upload that book, reformat it, get it up back on Kindle, and you can put a new call to action. You can put all of the information and the author sheets and all of those things into the book and re-release the book and make it better than ever. I am Haley Gray. I founded Women's Entrepreneur in 2015 with this radical notion that women are powerhouses and that we can absolutely make a massive impact on the world. Too often, we fail to achieve our goals just because we don't stick with things long enough and we don't have the support we need. I remember sitting down and looking around my class when I was at Duke getting my MBA and being shocked that only 10% of my class was women. And I realized that, part of the problem, part of the reason that we don't get the same opportunities for funding, for opportunities, is because we don't have the same education level and we don't get in front of the right investors at the right times with the right numbers and all of those things. One of those ways that you can draw that attention to your business and blow it up is with a book, with a $1 million book strategy. And I tell you, you can take that book and you can leverage it and you can make a ton of money off of a single book just by following the right strategies, just by working with me and having me help you take that marketing to the next level. Look, there's a lot of book publishers out there. I'm not a book publisher. I don't do book formatting. I don't do any of it. I will also tell you, I am not a podcast producer. There are plenty of people out there that can help you produce a podcast. What I will do is tell you, I can help you take the strategy and the checklists and the numbers and the information you need to get and take it to that next level, make a ton of money, and come and be truly wealthy with it. Book a call with me. Let's chat. Let's see how I can help you. A lot of people that talk to me are shocked because I can help them save a lot of time, effort, aggravation, and frustration. And yes, money in their business, even though I'm not the cheapest person to work with. And in fact, I can be fairly pricey. But here's the thing. I have been there. I have earned my place in business. I've done it. I've made the mistakes. I've got the education. I have got the practical know-how of how to actually make things work because I have done these things. Don't hesitate to make an appointment with me. The link is in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe, and let's chat soon. Thank you.